market. So Grok Imagine and Nano Banana 2 are both making big photorealism claims right now, and I wanted to actually put them side by side. The sharpest number I found, Nano Banana 2 tops out at 4K, while Grok Imagine caps at 2K, and that resolution gap is just a start. Both products dropped major updates. In 2026, and free tiers are gone for both of them now. So the cost math actually matters. I'm comparing Grok Imagine versus Nano Banana 2 across 4 real tests, pulling from 17 sources with no vendor money involved and no sponsored placement anywhere. And yeah, one of these models is 4 times cheaper per image on current evidence, but the pricing source isn't the vendor's own page, and there's a silent quality throttle happening at the usage cap that nobody's telling you about upfront. So who is this actually for? If you're a developer running image generation at any real volume, or a creator who needs 4K output for print work, picking the wrong tool here costs you real money fast. At 8 cents per image versus 2 cents per image, that's a 4 times swing per request, and it compounds quickly once you're generating at scale. Test 1, image realism and detail fidelity. When a model fails this one, you get outputs that look almost right, but have soft skin, muddy textures, or blown out lighting, and you end up re-rolling the same prompt 4 or 5 times before you get something usable, which kills your workflow and burns through your generation credits fast. Okay, so what I found here was honestly a bit frustrating. I looked at both vendor pages, press coverage, and community reports, and neither product has a published numeric fidelity score. Grok Imagine uses a flux, one an Aurora Mo base, and claims outputs indistinguishable from photographs. Nano Banana 2 claims vibrant, high fidelity visuals, and goes up to 4K. Both claims no independent verification. Now, the resolution difference is real. Nano Banana 2 goes to 4K and Grok Imagine tops at 2K. But a higher resolution ceiling doesn't equal better output quality. No same prompt comparison test exists for both products right now. So the gap is smaller than the spec sheet makes it look. And honestly, for most screen use cases, 2K is probably enough. So test 1 lands as a tie, and I was expecting at least one of these to have a published benchmark score I could point to, but neither does. Without a same setup quality test, I can't hand this one to either side. So 0 for Grok Imagine, 0 for Nano Banana 2, 1 tied. Test 2, prompt adherence accuracy. When a model gets this wrong, you describe a scene with 5 specific people, a logo in the corner, and text in Japanese, and what comes back has 3 people, the wrong font, and scrambled characters. You re-roll, pay again, and still don't get what you ask for, which is a real cost when you're on a per-image billing model. What surprised me here was how specific Nano Banana 2's documentation actually is. I looked at vendor pages for both, and Nano Banana 2 explicitly documents identity lock for up to 5 people across generations and accepts up to 14 reference images. Grok Imagine's Flux. One base has a solid press reputation for prompt following, but there's no published spec for multi-subject consistency anywhere I could find. Take it with a grain of salt though, because these are vendor claims, not independent test results. Grok Imagine supports prompts up to around 1,000 characters per press sources, which is solid for complex layered descriptions. And if your prompts are single subject and straightforward, the Flux one base is probably more than enough for what you need. Nano Banana 2 takes test 2, and honestly, I was expecting this one to be closer. The character identity lock for 5 people and 14 reference image inputs are just more specific than anything Grok Imagine publishes. And specificity usually means the team actually tested it. Score sits at Grok Imagine 0, Nano Banana 2 1, 1 tied. Test 3 generation speed and latency. When speed goes bad, you're on a mobile workflow, you fire off a prompt, and 40 seconds later, you get a 480p image instead of the 1080p you paid for with 0 warning that the quality dropped. That's a tool quietly lying to you about what it delivered. And that's a real problem when every generation costs money. So I was expecting a pretty clean speed comparison here, and what I found was messier than that. Nano Banana 2 Lite has a press documented latency of around 4 seconds at 1K resolution. Grok Imagine's 3 to 5 second figure is community reported from the Grok 2 chat interface, which is a different model variant entirely, so bear in mind these are different test setups, and you can't really call it a direct race. The raw latency numbers are actually pretty close. 4 seconds versus 3 to 5 seconds, so that alone doesn't move the needle much. What actually separates them is behavior at the cap. Grok Imagine silently downgrades to 480p when you're near your generation limit, and that's community reported, not disclosed by XAI. Nano Banana 2 Lite press sources say latency rarely goes past 20 seconds, even at peak. Nano Banana 2 picks up test 3, and honestly, the deciding factor wasn't raw speed at all. That undisclosed 480p downgrade on Grok Imagine is what swings it, because a silent quality throttle nobody tells you about is a much bigger problem than a 1 second latency difference. Scoreboard now reads Grok Imagine 0, Nano Banana 2 2, 1 tied. Test 4, pricing transparency and free tier. When this goes wrong, you scale up an image pipeline thinking you know your cost per image, Then you hit an undisclosed throttle or a rolling window reset you didn't know existed, and your budget math is suddenly wrong. Both of these products removed their free tiers in 2026, so every image now costs real money. Okay, so here's what I found. Grok Imagine comes in at 2 cents per image per a press tier aggregator, not XAI's own pricing page. So treat that as indicative. Nano Banana 2 is listed at 8 cents per image at 1K on fall.ai, which is vendor listed. On current evidence, Grok Imagine is 4 times cheaper per image, and XAI's $175 per month developer credit program has no documented Nano Banana 2 equivalent. Nano Banana 2 actually wins on transparency, even though it's pricier. The fall.ai page clearly documents resolution multipliers. 1.5 times for 2K, 2 times for 4K, and add-on costs for web grounding. Grok Imagine's limits are community reported with vague rolling window resets and that undisclosed 480 key throttle, so cheaper doesn't always mean clearer, and for budgeting at scale, clarity matters a lot. Grok Imagine takes test 4 on cost. And I'll be honest, I was expecting pricing to be murky on both sides, but the 4 times per image gap is hard to ignore even with the source caveat. Verify that 2 cents figure directly with XAI before you commit. Final scoreboard, Grok Imagine 1, Nano Banana 2-2, 1 tied. So where does Grok Imagine actually win? Per image API cost is 2 cents versus Nano Banana 2's 8 cents. That's a 4 times difference per request. The $175 per month developer credit program from XAI has no Nano Banana 2 equivalent. And Grok Imagine includes video generation, which Nano Banana 2 just doesn't do at all. The speed mode and quality mode toggle also gives you explicit control that Nano Banana 2 doesn't document. And where does Nano Banana 2 win? The 4000 resolution ceiling is real and meaningful for print and large format work. Multi-subject character identity lock for up to 5 people is explicitly documented, and Grok Imagine has nothing comparable published. Pricing tiers on fall.ai are clear with documented multipliers, and latency behavior at peak load is consistent and transparent. No silent quality drops. Honestly, I was expecting one of these to be a clear winner across the board, and what I actually got is a genuine split. So here's the decision rule. If your priority is cost per image at API scale, or you need video generation too, go with Grok Imagine, but verify the 2 cents price directly with XAI first. If you need 4K output, multi-subject consistency, or billing you can actually predict, Nano Banana 2 is the cleaner pick.